Good morning, guys. So today I want to talk about something different because I had another really unique insight yesterday. As many of you know, if you follow me, I watch a lot of Gary. Well, maybe not a lot, but I follow Gary V. Have followed Gary V for the last couple of years, and I really think he's on to something. I really think the message and the information he's putting out is profound in terms of he's talking about success and the path to it and all the aspects and constantly trying to find different ways to articulate the same thing to be able to give understanding. And so as I'm following his content and trying to understand and bring into my own life, I learn new things along the way, even if it's maybe the same content. So I was listening to him yesterday, and he has this bit that he's talked about before, and I've kind of accepted it, but I think this is more going forward with it, and there was a new insight that I realized. So I've been doing entrepreneurship for 12 years now. I started my first business when I was 17, getting involved in a multi-level marketing company. And since then, it's been quite the struggle. I've been a broke entrepreneur, is what I've said in another video. And what's interesting is in high school, so at the same time I started down the business route in high school, I was actually planning to pursue acting, and I really wanted to go to Concordia in Montreal to go study acting. That was my dream. Unfortunately, I allowed myself to get talked out of it, the large part being from my parents and society in general, because all they were doing was repeating this common phrase, or this common, I don't even know what to call it, stereotype, I guess, this common stereotype that most actors are broke. And then I said in a previous video, I was like, well, the irony is I went into business to entrepreneurship to make money, and the irony is I've just been a broke entrepreneur, so I'm no better off. And I deviated potentially from what could have been the thing. And so a big part of the path I'm on now is actually to explore that route. So part of moving to New Zealand is to kind of, again, break all of my patterns and what I know to be able to give space to then rebuild. And one of my main focuses is getting back into performance. And so DJing is the thing that really calls to me, because music calls to me. But I think performance, and even pursuing the mentality of being an artist, is what I'm going to try out. I don't know if that is the thing for me. But what I do know is I want to explore more passions and more interests of mine to find the thing that I love doing, that I want to do for 15 hours a day, because I really believe that the only way we can find massive success in whatever area is to find the thing that, cliche, doesn't feel like work. Gary says this often, and I believe it because I've lived it, is you can't outwork the person who loves it. So if you're in an industry doing something you don't love, it's very hard to ever be the top, because you're competing with people who love what they do. And I think so many people, myself included, got involved in things because we were told there's money in it. So this is kind of like, this insight I had was that I got into entrepreneurship actually because the belief that I'm now unpacking and that I've carried my whole life, the belief was I could make enough money doing something like a business to then support the lifestyle and pursue the thing I wanted to do. Like, I don't know if other people actually have that dream, and I might have at one point, but like, I don't want money to be able to sit on a beach for the rest of my life. Like, that sounds fucking boring. I always bought into the notion, which I think is really false, and actually I think the conversation needs to change. I bought into the notion that I could make enough money doing something business, or what a lot of people do, get a job they don't like, that I could then take that money somehow, like, I didn't even have a plan or even know, but it's just this notion that's very, I think, common, where like, make enough money doing a thing that you don't necessarily do, sacrifice, so that then later you can do the thing you really want to do, which is garbage. In actuality, it should be find the thing you love and do that and figure out how to make it work economically. And if that means lowering your expenses and living super poor and humbly, but you get to do the thing you love, that's way better than having a propped up life, making lots of money, doing something you hate and makes you miserable. So for what? And again, this is something I bought into. And so kind of going into this new decade, it's amazing that I'm kind of now discovering these things and these beliefs that kind of guided my last decade, and realizing like the conversation, part of why I want to have this video too, and part of my insight is like, maybe I'm actually not an entrepreneur. Maybe I've just told myself so long and believed it. And like, for sure there's some aspects I'm good at, but there's some aspects I'm not good at. And I know entrepreneurs, like, they're not good at everything, but there's a lot of parts I don't love about it. And I want to be naively optimistic that I'm going to find a passion, or I'm going to cultivate. I'm not going to just discover it, but I'm going to cultivate a passion that I love it. That even the hard parts of it, I love it because it's part of the process. Yeah, like, I've been doing entrepreneurship for a while, and the last company I built it to doing 100,000 in sales, but I walked away from that with $40,000 in debt. So like, yes, I grew it to something that's amazing, and I'm super proud to have built something like that. But the result of that too is I've walked away with the most debt I've ever had in my life from that. So really, I scaled something that I shouldn't have scaled. Like, sure, I got those numbers, but part of that was because I invested money. And yeah, so this is me kind of having a conversation of like, maybe entrepreneurship isn't the thing, and I need to kind of deprogram myself, and not in like not confident way, because again, I learned a lot, and I know like sales and marketing I'm great at. I'm really good at sales. I love it. I love the interacting with people part. I don't love so much the sitting on my computer and doing numbers, and like, so a great example too, it's like I like to just jump in things and try. So I'm doing eBay reselling as a business, and I'm making money, but I don't love it. Like, I tried it, I jumped in, I love the hunting part, I love the finding goods that I can flip, that part is fun, but the listing and it's so draining, it's unbelievably draining. Like, I'm even surprised of how it's like sitting on the computer trying to list items, like, literally puts me to sleep. It's tough. And I struggle with it so much. But what's great is I tried it. It's not really for me. Fortunately, it's something I can just, like, I did as a side project. I can wrap up. And I learned something. But I'm really excited to kind of jump into a completely new avenue, which I've never tried, which is actually getting into the corporate world as an employee. Is uh, like I've been very involved in business in the last few years. Prior to that, I was in the hospitality industry, so essentially entry level positions, cafes, bars, restaurants. I was good at it because I'm a good people person, and with tip money, it's a decent like living. Um, but now that I've done business and done business to a level of success, I actually know more about me. I know more about my passions and my skills, and I know what I'm good at. So now I want to leverage that into other companies because I want to be in that environment. I like it, but I love the idea that I get to just do certain things and not have to do other, like accounting and financing. It's not something I want to do. But to me, the job is actually, in my maturity, and this is probably basic to a lot of people, but it's never been my life. But my maturity growing into it is I'm excited for the stability of a job to allow me to do other things. Like, to be honest, outside of brief moments, like a couple months here, a couple months there, over the last 11 years, I haven't had hobbies at all because business and entrepreneurship has always been my side project and my hobby. Like, most of my life was spent working a job, working hospitality, restaurants, cafes to make a living, and then trying to grow a business on the side, all of which never produced any kind of, like, one produced a little bit of income for a short period of time that I was able to live on. But so all of my extra time has basically always been committed to business and entrepreneurship and trying to get something going because I've always believed in the notion that if I built a business that made money, I could then do the thing I love. And it's crazy. It's crazy now to reflect on, like, that I would believe that as opposed to what's the shortest path to doing the thing I love. And so now I'm super excited going forward to like get a job of I enjoy doing things I'm good at and love and I'm passionate about, but to then be able to go home and go off the clock and then pursue a different passion, a hobby, DJing, singing, performing, yeah. And so the big insight, and again, these things seem super simple and cliche, but it was huge to me, which is that I didn't realize until yesterday that I had built this life story around building the business to create the resources to do the thing I love. And that can work for some people. Absolutely. 100%. Nothing is black and white. But for me, I've tried it for 12 years. And it hasn't worked. I've had a lot of unhappiness with it. And so it's time to radically switch. And again, this all ties back into the strategy of why I'm moving to Auckland, why I'm moving to New Zealand, is to completely get out of all of the things I've built, the constructs, the routines, the habits, even the relationships. Like, I love the relationships here, and the close people I'm with, I'm obviously going to stay in contact with technology. I have, because I moved around a lot, I do have friends in other places that made friends when I lived somewhere, but now we interact a couple times a year, and we pick up exactly where we left off, and it's like, these friends I'll have for life. And so that is true. But I'm super excited to be able to put myself in the container of almost endless opportunity, where then I get to be a little bit more, not even a little bit more, a lot more intentional with everything I've learned, with the person I am today, with all the skills and all the knowledge and all the resources and all the past successes and failures that I can draw on to then create my life anew from that starting place. So yeah, that was kind of the insight. There's a lot I could talk about, I could keep going, but I won't. I try to keep these videos concise to certain topics. So yeah, I'm really excited to kind of take off the sweater, as my really good friend likes to say. Take off the sweater, the identity that is entrepreneurship, that I've always believed I'm an entrepreneur, and actually maybe question, like, maybe I'm not that great of an entrepreneur. And let's try on a different sweater. Let's try on the DJ sweater. Let's try on the singing sweater. Let's try on the theater or the performance sweater. Like, let's see what the... I kind of want to see what the next decade looks like in my life as a performer or an artist. And yeah, we'll see where things go. I'll leave it at that. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye!